I think the real message we want to make, though, is that there could be another 10,000 jobs in the arts, because if you look at jobs in the creative sector worldwide, you can see that we're actually quite low. Even if we try to position ourselves as a comparator with New Zealand, and we adopted their model about the relationship between the creative economy and the rest of the economy, 1 in 28 jobs, even at quite low level, internationally speaking, we could make the case that there's 10,000 jobs to be found in the arts with relatively minimal investment, but it definitely won't happen if there's cuts. Okay, so that's the jobs bit. Repeating the messages, that's what Charlie said, focus on a few key messages and repeat them. The second part is a national agenda, is the national pride and the international reputation bit. I don't think we have any problem here. If you look at over generations, our two favourite American presidents have said it, and we have direct quotes from them about how brilliant we are from an artistic, creative point of view. If we were a sport, we would be on open-top buses, we would be having rallies in the Mansion House, we would be having civic receptions for all our artists. But no, the odd press release from Martin Cullen, a bit of a statement from the Arts Council, a paragraph in the Arts pages of the Irish Times, and all our Nobel winners and our Booker winners, yes, they're valued, but in a much lower key way than our sporting heroes. And some people are convinced of Ireland's reputation above. People who are familiar with working in the States, who know Trina Vargo, very active promoter of Irish arts, and the IDA has jumped on the arts bandwagon, and Department of Foreign Affairs is always keen to use the arts as an opener, as a bridge, as a way of making links between Ireland and the people in the host country. Now, what do we need to do about this? Well, people will know that the Taoiseach on the left, on the right, your left, was very, very convinced that the arts were, as a patron of the, want to be positioned as a patron of the arts, came to visit the Arts Council when he was Minister for Finance in advance of being Taoiseach. When he was Taoiseach, made it very presidential gestures, artist tax exemption, establishment of Aistón. He knew that by aligning himself with the arts and aligning Ireland with an artistic voice, that he was gaining, perhaps couldn't really talk about why it was so important, he was gaining status and currency. Now, our job, I would say, or your job, is the guy on the left. He seems to be open, he's made a few introductory remarks about it, he's visited the Arts Council, and he is looking for a way to kickstart a new Ireland, to get Ireland right, to get that international reputation re-established. And we can be really, really proud of our arts. There are other sectors of the economy now that we're a little bit ashamed of, maybe, financial regulation, banking and so on, but the arts have never let us down, and this is the message which we want the Taoiseach to take away. I was going to maybe put a question mark in that square, but it seems now I won't be doing that, and they're coming back in for a 30-year rule for a short time, but I'm definitely not going to put a question mark on that. So, keeping those messages really clear, jobs, 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 national pride, smart economy. Again, I'm not going to cover ground that Charlie has already made here, but I did think one of the lines in his presentation, which said that the arts can be a feeder for the smart economy, and new media industries really gelled with this. We have an educated workforce, we're an imaginative people, it's our unique selling point. We're in a good position to capitalise on the creative quirkiness, I think you could say, that little bit of difference that we have as a nation of artists or artistic people, and people, organisations like the IDA and our exporters do know this because they're capitalising on our artistic images all the time. These are the industries, these are empires really who started off with little quirky ideas, creative ideas, and this is the kind of smart economy, knowledge economy that the government wants to build, so you need to be in there. And I think we've made some progress. You can see Martin Cullen, these two statements there saying how the smart economy is central for recovery. So that message is getting across, maybe in baby steps. That's something for maybe to pick up at another time. Okay, what the Arts Council is doing. I'm not going to just list out everything, I just want to call attention to a couple of things. We're, on the internal front, we're redirecting staff resources to looking at this whole jobs knowledge economy and international reputation agenda. We have people at every single meeting we can. Anytime there's a committee set up, anytime there's a document being drafted, we're stuck in there saying, don't forget a paragraph on the arts. My colleague Martin Sullivan and myself went to meet Barry McSween, the guy who's drafting the knowledge economy implementation document last Friday, and we're really impressed with how open he was. Just nobody had ever been to see him or talk to him about why the arts should be in that document before. So when he heard he was meeting us, he went on the Arts Council's website, looked up a whole lot about film, and it's now in the document. So it's very easy if we have concerted and sustained attention to these types of issues. So we're putting staff resources in. We're also doing some events and so on, and I want to point out that October might be a good month for you to do something, because we have some official events happening there, like a seminar on the smart economy, an event in the Oireachtas. Geert spoke about Donald Gunhill, and the Count Corla role is enabled to invite people in to give briefings, and we hope that some of you will join us in briefing the politicians then. I do want to say that the political and other public sector briefings, we want to just draw on the work that Deirdre Horn has done today in Wexford. Very impressive. We're meeting as a state agency, we're briefing European ministers. We're also very anxious to follow up on that very good idea about the new local councillors, and Rosalie Malloy today earlier said it would be a good idea to talk to the Arts Officers Association about this. We'll certainly do that. We're not doing a tractor rally. Pat said this morning that the arts is very bad because we don't do the tractor rally type of thing, but that's really not for us to do. That would be something you might think of. We are thinking of doing an ad campaign, and I didn't want to, these are a few ideas we have, very early days, and thanks to Larkin Partnership for giving us these images copyright free today. And I'm just going to flip through a couple of these because they make a point about the subtlety and richness and depth of the messages that I want to refer to in a second. So what we're saying here is the arts is not just about the obvious. Playing is not just about football. And you can see that we've used largely images of movement, images of kids. You know, they're quite developing using all that muscles. My favourite one is nourishment, is all about calories. Now, the success, and I don't think I'm contradicting anything Charlie said, but the success of all campaigns is the same messages repeated ad nauseum. We all have to be singing off the same hymn sheet. And I would say this is the hymn sheet. The arts are central to the national agenda, and the national agenda is jobs, national pride, and the smart economy. It's crude, but it's simple. Now, what, from our point of view, would be great if you could do something about this. It's simple, straightforward, it's direct, no big mystery about this. Support our visibility campaign. Very important that the taxpayer knows that the money they pay is actually going to your organisation, your production, your exhibition, your venue. Politicians of every hue, at every level, talk to them. That's been said already. Let people know what's happening. Upload their information on events at artscouncil.ie. Sean McCarthy there will point out how important that is if you give them a chance afterwards.